Hi guys, this is Fade from nerffaids.blogspot.com, and this is the 12th Faidian slip. Sorry it's up a little bit late. I was having a heck of a weekend, but better late than never, I suppose. Right now in video, I am currently in the Dalaran auction house area where the old engineering shop is, and I am making glyphs as my previous post suggested. There's now ability to get a foothold in the glyph market now that one of the botting players has been banned, so I'm making use of that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but first we'll talk about the actual Faidian slip stuff. One of the main things I've been thinking about doing is the formulas for the wrist enchants that came out in 406. I noticed on Power Word Gold there's a post about how it didn't really turn out to be a great investment for that blogger, who I don't even want to pronounce the full name, but we'll just say Flux. And it's unfortunate that that ended up happening, but here's what I think is about to happen. Really, the reason that those formulas don't sell well and the pattern or the scrolls of enchant that you make with them don't sell well is because Maelstrom crystals are a relatively exclusive item. It's like, if you need them, you've got them. If you don't raid in the end tier of content right now, so upper level normal raids or hard mode raids, you don't need that, so you wouldn't be looking for it anyways. If you are in these hard mode raids, your guild is probably providing you with Maelstrom crystals, so why would you go buying it off the auction house? This isn't something that's going to appeal to people who are pugging Magma every week. So that's why those really haven't been selling. The thing is, once 4.1 comes out, there's going to be a lot more Maelstrom crystals available, and suddenly this is going to become much more available to the masses. Thus, there's going to be more people who are willing to spend the money, since it's going to be more in their price range. I would not necessarily go out and spend 15,000 gold on this enchant, but if your server's like mine, some of them, since they've had such a crappy time of selling them, are down to under 1,000 gold per enchant on some days. So if you can pick up the enchant formula pretty cheap, I do think it can be a good investment in the coming 4.1 patch, but you'll probably have to sit on it for a little while before you can start selling the scrolls. In my last non-Faidian slip video, I talked about the Obsidian Shuffle, particularly because ore is dirt cheap on most people's servers right now. It's going for under the vendor value, so you're able to get gems for free practically. The thing is, so is everyone else. If these botters are as active on your server as they are on mine, assuming they are botters, which I think they are, there's more than enough ore to go around at a good price. So jewel crafting has actually started to be less of a big part of my selling plan here, because everyone else is having the same amount of profit for their investment as I'm getting. If these gems are free for me and they're free for someone else, we'll both undercut one another into oblivion. It's like, even if I sell my gem for 4 gold, so a gold over what I'd get if I vendored it, I'm still making profit, which is great, but so are they. So eventually you'll just lose on deposit, because if the competition is willing to go as low as I am, then neither of us are really going to make any money, and if they're paying what I am for gems, which they probably are, they're going to be willing to go that low. So I'm very much removing myself from the gems, not 100%, but it's going to become significantly less of a concentration of mine in the near future until something changes. Which will bring me to what the video is actually of. As you can see, I'm getting more into the glyphs. As I pointed out in one of my previous posts, one of the players on my server, who was pretty much well known to be a botting player, who was constantly in the glyph market, has been banned as of a few days ago, which left this gaping hole in the glyph market. A lot of us had been quote-unquote scared off by him and hadn't really looked at glyphs, so once he was gone, the glyph market was someone's for the taking. I wasn't the only one who noticed this, though. There was even talk in trade. They're like, hey, did that guy get banned? What's with glyphs? So a lot of people have since jumped onto this. There's probably about 5 new people who have crawled out of the woodwork along with me. And so it is a competitive market on my server again, but it's still a very valuable one, since I'm not competing with a machine anymore, I'm competing with people. Those same ore botters have been gathering Cinderbloom, it seems, and I can often get Cinderbloom for between 45 and 60 gold a stack. which I then mill and turn into inks. Usually, or at least right now during the Dark Moon Fair, the cards that I can make with the Inferno ink they pay for all the ink by themselves, so even if I sold the glyphs for a silver a piece, I'd still come out on top. But I like larger profit margins, so what I do is I craft any glyph that at the time of crafting is selling for over 90 gold. It might get undercut below that at some point, but generally speaking, if they're up that high, they will probably remain relatively high as well. So that's what I craft, and I had someone ask me, well, how do you know which ones are going for under 90 gold? Like, what add-on do you use? And as you can see, I don't really use an add-on. Though I believe there are probably some really great add-ons out there to do this, some that might have something to do with it, though that I've never personally used, are Gnomeworks, aka Little Sparky's Workshop. I think they're the same thing. Trade Skill Master probably has some sort of plugin for it, etc., etc. But I don't really use a lot of add-ons for glyph making in particular. It might end up causing me to take more time out of my day to create the glyphs, but I think there's some pretty good benefits to it as well. So basically what I do is I get all my materials and I go to the Dalaran auction house here on my scribe. I pull up inscription and I just type in glyph of in the search field so that all the glyphs pop up that I know. I think I'm still missing 2 of the recently added ones with the Book of Glyph Mastery, but I have got a pretty good set so far. Anyways, so I start at the top of the list, which is Death Knight, and I go down each list and I check each glyph separately on the auction house. You can use other add-ons, or like I usually would have liked to use Auctionator, but because I haven't synced up my Altaholic yet and my posters on the other tune, unless I can actually see who's selling each one, it's hard for me to know if I already have any posted on the auction house on my auction house tune, which is why I'm just using the normal search UI. So I go through and I search for each one of these, and if I see any that are selling for a decent rate, I craft them. I craft 3 or 4 each, sometimes more depending on the glyph and demand for it, etc. And if you'll notice some, if you're looking closely, that there will be 2 posted for 20 gold each, and then the rest are all up for 100 gold. So often I will just buy those out on my other character, and then craft some so that I can sell the ones I bought out as well as the ones I crafted, and just raise the price, because generally speaking, as long as I sell 1 glyph, I've paid for the 2 I had to buy out. Like I said, there's probably a lot of add-ons that are out there to help with this that can just queue all the glyphs and then, who knows, maybe even go AFK. You could probably do some research to find some yourself. I don't really use them, and there's a couple of reasons why. First off, it would be kind of a pain in the ass to get everything synced up between my 2 accounts. But the main reason is because I like being able to view each specific glyph. Like, for example, as far as I know, there's no add-on, and I could be wrong, feel free to correct me, but there's no add-on that will take into account everything that I could buy out, etc., etc. So on those glyphs most of them are up for 125 gold, but there's that one up for 10 gold. Because of that one up for 10 gold, add-ons might skip over that and might not craft that and catch that, which I can catch when I do this the old-fashioned way, quote-unquote. Also, it allows me to keep an eye on things like demand. If there's 3,000 glyphs of mirror image up, there's probably not a huge demand for those. Of course, having a lot of characters, I also know a little bit about what each class uses for each spec, but being able to do this manually helps me keep an eye on how much is in stock on the server, who's selling them, etc., etc. I'm actually standing right next to one of my main glyph competitors. I highly doubt that they know that this is my crafting tune, but it just gives me a lot more of an insight into the glyph market on my server, and so I do this the old-fashioned way. It might take a little bit of time, but it's actually something I really enjoy doing. It gives me a break from prospecting, so I've been having a lot of fun with it. So that's how I'm making my re-entry into the glyph market. Feel free to talk about add-ons in the comments if you want, or ask any questions, or tell me I'm doing it wrong, because, hey, I'm making gold, so I can't be doing it too wrong. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, please check out my blog at nerffaids.blogspot.com, and you guys have a great day.